How are we doing, Patriot fans? Welcome back to the PrimeTime Patriots podcast. I'm your host, Jake Mott, here with you on a Monday to break down an unfortunate home opening loss for the New England Patriots against the Baltimore Ravens. They lost this game 37-26. They kept it tight for a while. We're actually leading in the third quarter for a little bit there, I believe 20-14. So definitely had the opportunity here. Stuck with the Ravens for 3 good quarters of football. Kind of fell apart at the end there. Some really bad news at the end here with Mac Jones, the injury. We'll get to all that. We'll break it down in our usual good, bad, the ugly. So here we go. The good, the first and most obvious good, you couldn't miss it, was Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker had the game that you were searching for out of the wide receiver position for the past forever, realistically. Honestly, in terms of production, at least a guy like Brandon Cooks you could point to had that production, was a deep threat, a real deep threat, and could take the top off defenses. Devontae Parker was every bit of that in this game. This was prime time Devontae Parker. He's looked as good as he's ever looked. Made multiple phenomenal catches in this game. He had one down the left sideline in double coverage. Had a great back shoulder throw from Mac Jones where he turned around, just got 2 feet in, looked picture perfect. Couldn't draw it up any better. Devontae Parker, 5 catches for 156 yards. Looked every bit of the receiver that you signed or hoped to have signed when you brought him in the offseason. And it couldn't have come at a better time. It's against a great opponent, home opener. He looked really shaky the first 2 weeks. Really, really put a stamp on this game. Well over 100 yards. Again, 156 on 5 catches. So he was balling out, over 30 yards a catch. Can't ask for much more out of your deep threat number 1 receiver. So love to see that from Devontae Parker. Another good thing here, you ran the ball pretty well. Stevenson and Harris, they combined for 23 carries, 114 yards. That's just under 5 a carry, 4.95 average. That's pretty damn good, especially when you look at how ineffective the Patriots were, how ineffective that offensive line was in week 1 in both the run game and the pass game. For the second straight week now against a pretty decent team, we see the Patriots line really stepping up, especially in that run game. They were clearing lanes. They were able to lean on that running game and use it to open up more deep play shots to people like Devontae Parker and stuff like that. So, another good spot here is the O-line, especially in that run game this week. Again, a pretty decent job protecting Mac Jones this week as well. Mac Jones kind of walked himself into his own issues, but we'll get to that later on. The last good thing here was the secondary, especially the corners. Really great job out of these young corners again for the 3rd straight week, stepping up. Mark Andrews had a big day, absolutely. But if you look at a lot of these plays that Mark Andrews was making, they were just hustle effort plays. He went up and mossed McCourty in the end zone. McCourty had pretty good coverage. He didn't turn around and play the ball maybe as well as he could have. But, the coverage was there. Mark Andrews was just balling. He was on an elite level. But other than that, nobody else really hurt you. Rashad Bateman had one really big play where he made, I believe it was John Jones, so not even one of the younger corners, but he kind of exposed John Jones and made about 25 extra yards on a play that really John Jones played pretty well. It was just a curl route. Just wasn't able to rally and make the tackle, but that was really it in terms of other receivers. Everybody else was pretty well shut down. Jackson didn't throw to many other guys. Andrews had 89 receiving yards. The next closest was Bateman with something like, I think, 47, and like we said, had a massive 30-yard play that could have been tackled for a lot shorter. So really great job out of these corners stepping up and playing. We know Lamar isn't the best thrower of a football in the world, but they did a really great job covering those receivers. Also, 2 leading tacklers in this game were McCourty, which you don't love to see your safety leading your team in tackles. Obviously, that means a lot of people are running around near him and getting to him. You don't really love to see that. But then Jabril Peppers also had 5 tackles as well. So 7 and 5 for those guys. Led the team, coming up and making plays in the run game. You love to see that out of your secondary. And great job again from these young corners, Jack and Marcus Jones. So let's move in from the good to the bad. First thing in the bad section here is the front 7. they started pretty good. They got 3 sacks early, all from Dietrich Wise, actually. Had a great game, especially on the stat sheet. And they ended with 4 sacks total, but Lamar started really beating him up on the ground. I was pretty spot on in terms of he was going to really kill you on those second and longs, those third and longs, where you get a team behind the sticks, you know they have to pass, you put them in a passing situation, you cover it up pretty well, and then Lamar Jackson scoots away for a big gain. That happened multiple times, few bad angles, and it's not ugly, it's not in the ugly category because it is Lamar Jackson. He's going to make plays, but again, you had leverage in this game. You knew they were going to have to drop back and pass, and you knew you had to have a guy keeping an eye on Lamar. And just too many times Lamar was able to make somebody in that front seven miss. That's what led to all those tackles from McCourty, Jabril Peppers. So not a great day for the front seven. They were one of the negatives here on Sunday. So going on to the next bad thing. Going forward, it's 2 coaching decisions here for the last 2 bad things. Very weird. Or not coaching, but not direct position groups, more specific plays. So going for it on 4th and 3 on your own, or on the opposing 33 with 9 minutes in the second, and they were down 7-3. I really don't know why you're not favored in this game. A lot of people would have taken the Ravens, me included, to win. You have a chance to basically even the score. You'd make it 7-6. Unless they go for 2, you're still down 8 in the worst case scenario. And it's a 1-possession game. Just very weird. If it was 4th and 1 from the 31, I could maybe argue that. If it was 4th and 3 from the 40, not the 30, then maybe we're talking. But it was so weird. And obviously, hindsight's 2020. They ran a really weird screen play, which was a weird play call for it as well. That got tackled short, so it's easy now to be like, oh, you should have just kicked the field goal, but that's basically automatic range there for Nick Folk. Very surprised they didn't just take the points there and basically even up the game and give them a better fighting chance for the rest of the game. But weird one there. Put it in the bad. Not super ugly. You see a lot of teams do it nowadays, especially. It's much more common than it was maybe 10, 15 years ago. But still, weird call there. I'm sure most would agree. The second bad thing would just be the Nelson Aguilar fumble. Fumbles happen. It is what it is. If you want to point at one specific play in the game, you either point to Mack throwing the pick in the back of the end zone towards Parker, or what I think would be the more common and I think rightfully deserving play to point at would be the Nelson Aguilar fumble. So you got like 5 minutes left in the game, down 5, so you need a touchdown to win. That play puts you well into their side of the field. I believe it was right around the 40 or deep 30s of the Ravens. And Nelson Aguilar just not really securing the ball as well as he could have. Defender comes back, classic strip, makes the play. Great job by the Ravens, but it's tough. And you hate to see it off a guy who had a career day with the Patriots last week. It was like 5 catches, 140-something yards, like that touchdown for Nelson Aguilar. Great game from him, and he had 2 solid catches, including that one in this game, that helped the Patriots win. He's really contributing, doing a good job. So I don't want to put a bunch of weight here. Sometimes fumbles just happen. You think you're in the open there. Guy made a great angle, made a great play. So it is what it is, but it's definitely not a positive. So I tossed it as the third thing in this bad category for this week. Moving on to the ugly. There are 2 things that I had in the ugly category for this week. Hunter Henry now being demoted. I believe it was bad last week. It's got to be ugly now. Another basic non-performance here from Hunter Henry. Just 1 catch for 8 yards. I believe that puts him at 3 for 27 on the season. So in 3 games, he's averaging 1 catch, 9 yards a game. Not what you're paying him, to be totally honest. Let's just be straight up. And you see slight elevation out of Jonnu Smith in this game. I didn't think he did well enough to be put in the good category, but obviously he wasn't bad either. I thought Jonnu had like 4 catches, 40-something yards, something like that. Decently productive game, at least by his standards, but then we see Hunter Henry falling to the wayside. It's really weird to see, again, a guy who had really tremendous chemistry with Mac Jones, especially in the red zone last year, to just see him kind of fall off. They did try to go to him, I believe, one time that I can definitely remember, maybe even twice, that they tried to find Hunter Henry in the red zone there and really feed him the ball. just weren't able to get it done. They don't have that same kind of chemistry, or defenses are doing a better job. Either way, Hunter Henry not making an impact so far this season, and it might have to come from somebody other. It's definitely going to have to come from somebody other than Mac Jones these next couple of weeks, because that is the final ugly. We saved this one for the end. Mac Jones, aside from the injury, which we'll get into that right now, I guess, reported very severe high ankle sprain. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to put timetables to it. I've heard multiple weeks, obviously, is the lean. Certainly not going to play this next game. Week 4, I'm blanking right now on immediately who it is, but Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. So there's absolutely no chance he's playing in that game, and we'll see from then on out. But multiple weeks here, going to be without Mac Jones. But the injury aside, really crappy day for Mac Jones. And could it have been worse? Yes, but I think it's still very ugly. He threw for 321, and when you see 321, you say that's really nice. They really moved the ball down the field. That's a lot of yardage accumulated. Mac Jones, seen as a guy, especially last year, not going to push it down the field, not going to threaten you on big yardage plays, chunk plays. That wasn't the case in this game. There were plenty of them, a lot of them coming from Devontae Parker, but they were successfully pushing the ball and moving the ball down the field through the air. The problem comes when you see 0 touchdowns, 3 picks. He did have the rushing touchdown, so even if we change that to 1 touchdown, 3 picks, it's just really not what you needed. The first 2 of those picks, especially crucial game-breaking picks that were just the last thing the Patriots needed at that point. You obviously never need an interception, but those 2 both came in situations where you got to make that play, you got to make that throw, and he just misses them. The third one we'll toss to the side for now. This is the one he gets hurt on. Calais Campbell falls on his leg, results in that high ankle sprain. But the first 2, the first one, really, really bad. There was a backer. I believe it was a backer. It could have been a nickel corner as well. Just rolling directly to the ball, and you can see him leading right towards the ball, and it's almost like Mac Jones throws it to him. Like, you can see the receiver on the other side that Mac was thinking, but it's clear as day. You can see this guy converging to the exact same point, and Mac just puts it right on him, and the easy play for the linebacker to just undercut it, make a super simple catch. There was one in between, I believe, before the second pick, where he tried to throw an out route to the left side or something short to the left side, and a guy should have had a clear as day pick 6 going back the other way. That went right off his chest, so got blessed with one there. Probably should have had 4 picks. But the real second one was the deep one to Devontae Parker in the back left corner. Bunch of pressure comes in from Mac Jones, comes in Mac Jones' face, and he has to sit there, and instead of making the smart decision and just really putting everything on it and putting it out of the back of the end zone, making it a complete ludicrous idea for the corner to make a play on it, he kind of short arms it, goes for the back corner. Parker's a little too far back to make a play on it, and he forces it up there. Easy pick. Nobody even really contests the corner. Just drops right into the bucket there in the back of the end zone. So, real tough. That came at a time again. Believe you're down 5 there, so the touchdown would have put you up. But you're right in the red zone. You have 3 basically guaranteed. So, worst case scenario, you're coming out of there down 2. With a good stop, a field goal can go win you the game. Mac Jones tosses it away. So, not a great day from Mac Jones. It's going to get overshadowed as the day that he got hurt, but he really didn't have a great game either. He hurt the Patriots twice in key moments. He was also 2 for 9 on 3rd down in this game. I know that's more of a team stat, but if it has to go on anybody, that's definitely the quarterback. That's where there's the most decision-making at the line of scrimmage. There's the most chances for audibles and things to be made because you know where the sticks are. Not that you don't on other downs, but you know that this is your last chance to get across the sticks. You can draw things up here that you maybe would be less conservative with on the earlier down, or more conservative with on the earlier downs. You're willing to step up, make that big throw, make that big play on 3rd down. Time and time again, just failed on that one. They forced a lot of punts in this game for the Patriots. So, not a great one for the New England Patriots. They fall to 1-2 on the season. Some other crazy games in the NFL, especially as far as we're concerned with the Buffalo and Miami game. That one goes down to the wire. Miami surprising not everybody, but a lot of people by beating the Bills by 2 points. So they are undefeated at the top of the AFC East. Don't see that staying the same way. I think the Bills will ultimately win the division. But that just makes it a lot tougher for you. It just proves that the Dolphins are a really great team. You're going to have to play them one more time, and you're going to have to try to battle to try to get to that second spot in the division. I guess not that it really matters because you would be battling for a wild card spot anyways, but you definitely got to fight now. So it's going to be a long road for the Patriots. Most likely multiple weeks here with Brian Hoyer behind center. I'm not terrified. I think we'll save most of the Brian Hoyer discussion for the pregame. We'll talk about how effective I think they'll be on offense. I don't think... Do I think we're going to the playoffs at this point in time? No, I don't. Do I think you can still be a competitive football team and the Patriots are worth watching every week with Brian Hoyer under center? Yes, I do. I think you're going to a pretty lulled point of the season. These initial weeks, we knew we were going to find out what kind of team the Patriots were. They kind of sputtered. They're 1-2 now. They're going to face a tough Green Bay team that just, I believe, beat the Bucs or played the Bucs incredibly well. I think they beat the Bucs. So you're going to have to keep stepping it up. It's not going to get easier right away, but you are going to hit a little bit of a lull here in the middle. You got some easier teams that should be able to scrap some wins out of. So all moving forward here for the Patriots. Got to try to turn the page here and move forward. Hopefully Mac Jones can get his way back onto the field as soon as possible. So with that being said, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it as always. Share this around, get it out to some people if you can. And I will see you guys soon, hopefully Saturday, Friday, sometime in that area for the pregame for this game against the Packers. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Go Pats.